planning on speaking tonight, but I was sent here b'shlichus from Rabbi Bachsus. Bachsus on children. So really I wanted to speak in Ivrit because I know the importance of communication, especially in marriage. And in fact, I just heard a story recently. There was a Kala, after a few months, she came crying to her father that her husband still hasn't said one word. So he says, okay, I'll check out what's the issue. He calls his Sheva. His Sheva says, I'll speak to him. So he tells the boy, he said, remember, I told you, you have to speak. You have to tell her about your day. He's like, yeah, but you also told me I can't interrupt. Steht in Chazal say that Choshech zu malchus Yavon, she'chshichu eineim shel Yisrael. They darkened the eyes of Klal Yisrael. They told Klal Yisrael, Kisvu al keren ashar, she'ein lochem chelik b'lekei Yisrael. So Rashi explains why al keren ashar. He says the Yevonim wanted to be more the Chet HaEgel. So the question is, what's the connection between Yavon and the Chet HaEgel? So the Beis HaLevi says, by the Chet HaEgel, what was the main Aveira? It says, really what Klal Yisrael, what they were doing Lishma. They realized that Moshe Rabbeinu, it looked to them like he had died, and they needed a manig, they needed someone to lead them. So they said, even though the Torah says you can't have Avodah Zarah, but here it makes sense that there should be an exception. So the problem was that they weren't mevatel their das to the Torah. They said, even though the Torah says this and this, but here it makes sense to us, the way we understand it, to our seichel, it makes sense to make an exception. And that was the Chet of the Egel. Malchus Yavon, the Sfarim tell us, the Milchama of Yavon was, Yavon was Machshav Chachma. And they were even Machshav the Torah. The Torah is Chachma. But their taina was that everything starts and ends with man. That which the person, Adam, could understand, exists. Anything that we can't understand does not exist. There's no such thing as something me'al hateva. Everything is what we see, what we understand, what's down here. There's no place for ruchnias, there's no place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for Torah, anything that's beyond us. So what Yavon was telling Klal Yisrael is that, look, you yourselves were over on the Chet HaEgel. You yourselves were maskim to us that we take the Torah and we do it in accordance to our understanding, that there's nothing above us. So they were saying, you yourselves were maskim to us. But our Mechama against Yavon is to say, no, even if we can't understand, even if there's something that we don't see with our eyes, but there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether we can see it or not, whether we can understand. There's Torah, there's Ruchnias, whether we understand it, doesn't make a difference. We have to mevatel ourselves to the Eibishter, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Maral explains that's why Hanukkah was specifically 8 days. Because the number of 8 we know is the number of Me'al HaTeva. There were 7 days of creation, and then 8 is after creation. 8 is L'mayla Min HaTeva. Yavon was saying that there's only Teva in this world, and our Mulchama is to say, no, there's L'mayla Min HaTeva. There's something higher, there's Ruchnis, there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's something above Teva. The Gemara tells us that Ish v'isha zachu shchina shruya beineim. That when a husband and wife are zeicha, Hashem is between them. Rav Kaufman explains a very interesting pshat. He says, beineim means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu serves as the glue. Between the two pieces, he serves as the glue to connect them. The only way to have a real shleimus, a real shalom bayis, is if the thing that connects the husband and the wife is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When a husband has his ritzayinus and the wife has her ritzayinus, there's automatically going to be pirud, because they don't always want the same exact thing. But when they both want the Ratzon Hashem, they both have this central focus. They have this rikuz here. They both want HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then Hashem serves as the glue, the thing that connects them, and they can be zeichet to shalom bayis. In the short amount of time that I was zeichet to be in Sava and Safta's house, no matter what you hear, any story, any sentence that goes on, there's always Bezrat Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Mirza Hashem. Everything is always with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every step of the way, there's this understanding that we're not living here just with what we see, just with the physical down here. We're connected to something higher. We're living in Olam HaRuchni. So the bracha to the Chassan and the Kalas, he should take this hergish, this world that he grew up in, and bring it into his own bias, and Mir Chesem Shvi Zeichet to Zachu Shriya Shchina Shriya B'Neim.